that revenue.
All right, guys, so appreciate everybody being here. My name is Jim Stapleton, Vice President of Development for Carry Transitions. I've been in sales for 26 years. Different types of sales. Professionally sales trained at a door-to-door insurance company. Knock on a door, get in the house old-fashioned way, sit at a table, and go over selling disability, life insurance, small cancer policies. So I've been in the consultation mode. I've gone to different businesses. I used to walk into hairdressers and say, I'm not here for a haircut, but break your finger, you gotta work, right? So I was thinking about what to talk to you guys about. I was thinking, is there any tips or tricks? Is there anything I can give you? Me coming in and telling you, change your entire process is not gonna help you guys in any way, shape, or form. So my goal here is to make an impact on you. Sales is a mindset. What happens in between your ears is 100%. What you think is what's gonna happen. Actually, as I'm sitting here, I'm hearing a lot of different thoughts on the same thing. You guys are all selling the same product, right? But people have different conceptions on how it should work. Depends on the customer. Depends on, what the situation is. It depends on, X, Y, or Z. So let's get into that. Let's start talking through and really see how we can, develop the mindset that comes along with the sales. So when it comes to sales, there's two things you can control. You control your attitude, and you control your activities. So only two things that are a constant. Everything else is variable, right? We can't control the environment, we can't control what's happening in the economy, we can't control what's happening in the customer situation. You can't control your attitude going into the house, and you control your attitude or your activities on who you're going to see, and making sure that you're setting yourself up to have a constant flow of leads coming in. So when I was at the insurance company, they hammered into us positive mental attitude. We used to do the rah-rah chants. Be enthusiastic, act enthusiastic. All right. I'm not gonna have you guys do that, but it didn't make sense to me when I was going through this. Like, why are they trying to hammering this in? It doesn't really make any sense of why we got to do this. But when you start thinking about having in sales, man, we're told no 1,000 times a day, right? So every time we go to somebody, it's kind of no thanks, and then you brush it off and you go to the next one. It's always that constant cycle. Plus just your mindset itself. If you're getting up every single day and you're going to be told no 1,000 times that day, knowing that, a negative mind will never give you a positive life. So I want you guys to look at this word. How many no's are in this word? Shout it out. Two, right? So there's K-N-O-W and there's N-O. So if you go into an assisted living facility, you're going to talk to a broker or something like that, even if you're sitting with a consultation and somebody tells you no, what are they telling you? Are they telling you K-N-O-W? If they don't know, about your business. If they don't know about how you can help them. Maybe they don't know how you're gonna be able to take that time away and be able to benefit them that way. Or is it, no, I'm not interested, get out of my house, never seeing you again. Which one is it? So really what we have to do is peel back that onion and figure out which one is actually the situation we're in. Sometimes when it's this one, it's not right now. Maybe you have to give them more of it. Maybe you have to, show them that we are the nation's largest provider of this kind of service. Guys, we're Nike coming into people that are making sneakers in their basement, all right? We are a large franchise. This is evidently clear to me when I go to a franchise show, and people ask all the time, how many units do you have? And when I say 300, they're like, oh, we're a big company. So, don't forget that. You guys are titans in this industry. So, and then once you figure out what the no is, you knock the K off and you get the deal now. Does that make sense? So this is my son. My son, at 8 years old, was playing baseball. My son sucks at baseball. Okay, like the worst. He's the kid that when you lean over, the ball comes and it goes between your legs. It goes to throw the ball and it goes that way. So he was a kid that was playing right field. Have you ever played baseball when you're 8 years old and playing right field?
That's me.
There's a reason that a coach puts you in right field. It's because the ball will never go there. Okay. So my son, during his first game, he's out there, he's rooting the team on. Come on, Kate, come on, Kevin, come on, PJ. Really rooting the team on, really excited out there. I came to the game late, I'm in my suit, right? So I go up to him and I'm like, hey, how's the game going? He's like, Dad, this is awesome. And I'm like, oh good, he plays baseball. I wasn't sure if he was gonna dig it or not. So I said, what's the score? He goes, Dad, you're not gonna believe it. It's 27-0, can you believe it? And I was like, oh, that's cool, you guys are winning 27-0. He goes, hell no, we're losing 27-0. And I did a very adult thing at that point. I said, well, what are you happy about? And he goes, Dad, we haven't even been up yet. So when this kid is living his life this big, right? When you're an optimist, the future's nothing but possibilities, right? So if you ever hear, seeing life through the eyes of a child, seeing it through someone that hasn't been beat down by life, someone that hasn't been told that they can't do it, someone that hasn't been told over and over again that the sky's not the limit. He's not gonna let, being down 27-0 hold him down. How many people have been down 27-0 in their life? So think about that. When you're down 27-0, you have a choice. You can either let that define you, or you can let that drive you. So, one of my favorite people, old guru salesperson, his name is Zig Ziglar. How many people have heard of Zig Ziglar before? Zig Ziglar's was been teaching in the 60s, 70s, 80s. One of my favorite things that he sayings from him is sales is essentially a transference of feeling. That's it. If you can get the customer to feel how you feel about this product, you'll sell it every time. And think of the situations that you guys walk into. Where's the stress level? Is it high or low? Super high, right? So you guys coming in and being that solution to that super high stressful problem is should be that that release, that breath of fresh air coming in. What I really want to talk about today is really the 4 reasons that you're not making sales today. So it falls down to 4 things. There's no need, no trust, no money, or no hurry. If one of these 4 things are missing in your sales process right now, you will never sell it. Okay? All 4 of those have to exist. So let's dive into each one. So one of my favorite quotes from Henry Ford, I just heard this a couple months ago, is he said, if I asked people what they wanted, they would have told me faster horses. How many people, when you walk into their house, know who Carry Transitions is? Not a hand in the place, right? So it's not like you're selling cars. It's not like you're selling anything that is known. We actually have to almost create the need. We gotta let them know exactly what it is. When I sold insurance is that one thing that you can't get when you need it most. And people have to be sold insurance. Nobody thinks they need it until they need it, right? So we used to walk into a house when I was selling disability, and we would ask questions. We'd be like, Rosie, if you got sick or hurt and couldn't work, would you still receive a paycheck? Would that be a problem for you?
Yes.
How so?
I need money.
You need money for what?
My illness or injury.
Okay, so you probably got some bills too, right?
Oh yeah, that.
Okay, so what kind of bills?
My house and my car and my kids.
Okay, so if something happened to you tomorrow, you and your family would probably need all the money you can get and then some, is that true?
You got that right.
Okay, so then, good news is, if you qualify for our income protector, you can get the money back, so. But guys, listen, it's creating that need. Most people don't realize that it's all those different things that, are going to pile up. We know the situation with every single person walking into it, right? We know exactly what they're facing. We know exactly what the situation is going to be if they don't use Carry Transitions. What is that? What is it?
You said what?
So every single person that we're walking in and talking to, what are they faced with if they're gonna do this by themselves? How long is it gonna take them?
2 years.
Okay, how much is it gonna cost them? Time. So it probably even more things that they're not even thinking about, right? So, and we'll get into that in a second. But when it comes to the need in this, is there a need for our service? Okay, so we establish that. How excited are you guys about your business? How excited are you that you're gonna be that solution for these people coming in? Because once again, mindset, right? Having that positive attitude walking in. You are the guardian angel that's gonna be able to solve their problem for them. So, the answer is yes, but you know, they called you for a quote, they found you somewhere, right? You guys aren't cold calling. That's a totally different situation. You're not knocking on doors going, hey, what does your house look like? Do you need to sell some stuff, right? They called you up and they want you to come by for a quote because they already have a problem that you're the solution for. Well, here's the thing, you have to solve their problem. I think a lot of the times, you know, companies come in and they talk about themselves. This is who I am and this is how great my company is. Here's the fact, nobody cares about you. What their question, what they care about is the Janet Jackson song. What have you done for me lately? Okay, you have to make sure that you show that you are the solution to their problem. This is what I do, and this is how it's going to benefit you. That has to be your approach, especially when you're sitting with them, to be able to support this need. If you don't establish this during that call, you might as well just walk out. Or don't even go on the console. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let's talk about trust. Trust is one thing that takes forever to build and a second to take away. How many people have been in a relationship like this? Raise your hand. So think about that. You know, have you guys ever been, talking to someone and you might be in an hour conversation with them? They might say one thing, and you're like, it takes all the credibility out the window, right? So you have to make sure, and especially when it comes to seniors, they're one of the most vulnerable parts of society, right? There's more scams out there for seniors than really any other part of society. So trust is paramount. So one way you build trust is through confidence. The definition of confidence is the state of feeling certain about the truth of something, or also a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities and qualities. So how we learn is through repetition, right? So if I was gonna ask somebody to come up here and tie my shoes, how many people would be able to do that? Now, are you sure? How do you know you'd be able to do that? I don't even know you're wearing laces, but I mean, but how do you know that you'd be able to come up here and no problem be able to do it? Because you've done it 1,000 times, right? So when it comes to how you build confidence is by perfecting the process, perfecting your presentation. For me, I mean, when we do sales, I've got a process right now that we take people through, 4 to 6 weeks, right? About how long it took you guys, a couple months to go through the entire process. So the process we take everybody through is the same process for every single person. Now you guys are all individuals, right? You guys all have different goals and different beliefs and different systems and everything else. So how would one process work for everybody if everybody's a different individual? System, right? So it's something that we know works because, listen, deep down inside, we're all looking for the same thing, right? For us, we don't have a solution where we're solving a problem besides building this dream. Everybody that signed up for a franchise, you had this dream of business ownership, right? You had this idea of exactly what you wanted out of this. So what we needed to do was feed that dream for you guys. We needed to be able to, you guys close your eyes and see yourself as an owner. If we couldn't do that, there's no way you guys would give us $45,000, right? So it's kind of the same thing with you guys. You're building this up for a client to show them what it's going to look like afterwards. Think about how you're going to feel afterwards when all this is done. When this is taken off your shoulders and you're going to be able to help mom settle in this new strange reality and never have to deal with anything in that house. So but it's all about confidence and that you are the solution. You're letting them know. So one of my favorite things that my mentor used to say all the time is, when you know and you know, confidence replaces fear. So if I was gonna ask everybody in here to, jump on a bicycle and start riding, how many people would be able to do that? How many people have done that before? Now if I was gonna ask everybody in here to jump on a motorcycle, same way, and go, how many people would be able to do that?
And not crash.
And well, that's the thing now, right? I'm not so sure now, right? Now, bicycle is no problem. You know, motorcycle, that's a totally different animal. But both got wheels. They both take you from point A to point B. So what's the difference? It's the fear of the unknown, right? Confidence is what we get when we take fear, face it, and replace it. So what I want to talk about is fear. When we're in sales, once again, mindset, right? Everything that you want is on the other side of fear. But what happens is, fear's a primitive, we've got this billion-year-old brain, guys. So it's, you know, this primal instinct we have, you know, it's from God or the universe or evolution, whatever label you want it. But there's something that is in our brain that taught us that what's moving in the bushes. Wait, what color is this? Why is it different? You know, what fear will do is it's meant to recognize and drive us away. Drive us away from whatever this is. But it also works now too. So when it comes to sales, you don't win with your head, you win with your heart. Whatever that being or, you know, evolution or whatever you want it is, it didn't just give us a brain, but it gave us emotions also. Because your brain will talk you out of things. How many times has your alarm gone off? And if you don't get out of bed in 5 seconds, your brain goes, we can sleep for another 10 minutes. You know, all my clothes are already, you know, it's put aside. We can, you know, lay here. It's comfortable here, right? It'll talk you out of doing things. How many people have said, you know, hey, Monday I'm gonna go to the gym. And Monday comes and your brain's like, we can go next week, right? Well, you don't have to, you know, stick to that diet. This is what your brain does. Your brain talks you out of being in your comfortable environment. But your emotions control everything. Your emotions control everything. Whenever you're going towards your goals, what I found is it usually falls into 3 different categories. It's meh. Everybody say that? Meh. All right, at least got a couple people. It's excitement, and there's also fear. Each one of them will drive you a certain different way. Meh is just, you know, I'm going through, I gotta go out there and I'll get to it when I get to it, right? Excitement is, man, I'm focused. Here I go. I'm gonna hit exactly what I want. I know how to get there and I know what the path is. Fear will paralyze you. Fear is the thief of momentum because it stops you in your tracks and makes sure that, you know, whatever that is, you know, have you guys ever been bitten by a snake before? Raise your hand if you have. How many people are terrified of snakes though?
Totally terrified.
Right? So it stops you from taking that step forward because you might step on something hot. You might step on something sharp. It's all up here, guys. All right? So it also keeps you from everything that you want. Zig Ziglar said that fear breaks down the false evidence appearing real. So what does our brand have to be able to help you build this trust with the client and overcome the fear? What do we give you guys? Guess we got systems. We got to track the run on how to be able to do it, right? What are some other things that our brand gives you?
Peace of mind.
Okay. And if you have a question on it, what else can you do?
If I have a question.
If you have a question about, you know, some part of the process,
We've done this whole system, a network.
yeah, and you got regional meetings you come to, right?
Yeah.
So
Reputation.
reputation gives you knowledge. Reputation's a big one. You know, you guys aren't. This isn't, you know, Mike's transition service. This is carrying transitions that you guys are under. So that also helps you. What about marketing pieces? What about stuff you don't have to design by yourself? What about SEO? What about websites? What about all these other things that people are going to be searching that you guys don't have to worry about, that they'll know top level about who you are and what you do? So are these all positive things that are going to be able to move you forward? Let's talk about money. This is my favorite thing to talk about, all right? So let's talk about money, because we were talking about this right now, right? We just got done looking at the profitability sheet and everything else. Guys, when it comes to money in our industry, so this is my backyard. I had this 100-foot tree in my backyard. This thing was, I was building a garden around it, it was dying. Every time I went into the backyard, I was pulling a huge branch out, right? So I had to cut it down. I got a quote, 2 different and you guys take care of everything, quote me to have you guys cut it down and I'll take care of it. So the difference between the two different quotes is $400. So in my mind, I was like, oh, I can save myself $400. I'll just do it by myself. You don't realize how much wood lays in your backyard from a 100-foot tree until it's laid in your backyard. I remember the guy came out, knocked on my door, I walked out, I was like, how much will it be for you guys to do this? And he's like, oh, it's too late. We usually take it right out. And I'm like, the stuff got to be ground down too. He goes, well, I'm going to give you a couple weeks to clear through this. I was like, a couple weeks? I'm going to do this weekend. Man, shit. I didn't realize what job was in front of me at the time. Now, let me ask a question. There's different impacts that have a value to it. What kind of psychological impacts was it for me to know that every weekend for the next couple months, it took me literally 3 months to go through, chop these into little logs and get it out. I had 6-foot brush piles of twigs that I had no clue what the hell I was gonna do with. I wasn't accounting for that. I remember looking in my backyard, you know, every single weekend, and then there's thunderclouds in the back. I think I was imagining that, but anyways. You know, thinking, I have to, there's nothing I can do. I have to do the backyard this weekend. And if it wasn't for COVID, I'd be missing camping trips and soccer games and everything else that I'd much rather be doing than ever have to deal with this stupid tree. Family impact. I had to have my wife and my son help me because I couldn't do it all myself. Now, there's two things you have to understand about my wife. First thing, she's a very lucky woman. Second thing, I mean, I had to deal with her, keep on saying that this is the stupidest thing we've ever done before, and she works for some union that I didn't realize when I asked her to help, because she was taking breaks every 15 minutes. But it adds that stress to the family, right? So, and then I had my son carrying logs, you know, along with it too. Physical impact. I got hurt. So I got a bad lower back. I was taking one of these Thor hammer swings to chop down one of these giant stumps, and I hurt my back, threw my back out. So if I did anything besides sales where I'm sitting at a desk, that could have put me out for a couple weeks, right? Money impact. And I had to buy these 6-foot twigs. I had to buy a chipper, right? Wood chipper. So I spent $60 on a used wood chipper. My wife's like cutting them into small pieces. I'm like, I don't have to do that. Look, smoked it out. $60 more. So now we're back to square one. So I didn't have the tools necessary to be able to do everything that was needed to be done. But here's the biggest thing: time impact. What am I sacrificing by having to do this by myself? And guys, remember, it was $400. Like, I'm halfway through this, I'm like, I will give you 3 times that amount to come back and take this off my plate. But now it's a bigger mess that I created than when they were there originally. This could have been taken care of. I'm gonna give you one more analogy. So, in this example, the tree's the house. The tree's the house that this customer has, okay? You guys know, you guys are the tree trimmers, you know what's going to happen, you know, and the best way to be able to take care of this, right? And what do people say? I'll do it myself. This is what they're left with, right? This is what you guys are experts in, and it's clearing this out. The guys ended up coming back because I gave up, right? I told them to come back and give me a quote how much it would be to clear it out. And I called my wife, I'm like, hey, there yet? She's like, it's gone, it's done. What do you mean it's done? No, they cleared it out, it's all gone. You'll see when you come home, it's like Mount Everest of tree stumps in the front yard. Sure enough, came home, they did it in an hour. In an hour to clear it all out. So just this past weekend, I'm taking my son to Disney this July, right? I got this water jug that I've been collecting change since he was born. So it's like 11 years worth of change. It's about a quarter full. So I told him, I said, listen, we'll cash this in, we'll be able to have spending money for when you're at Disney. So I said, listen, there's one of these Coinstar machines, right? It's over at Meijer. We'll go dump all the change in there and get it. So I'm at the Coinstar machine and I'm going through, and I was like seeing the terms and conditions, and they charge 12% of all the change that goes in there, right? And I'm looking at them going, there's no way I'm gonna, that's highway robbery, I'm not doing that. No way, here I go marching out of Meijer with this heavy jug to get into my truck to go over to Office Max to get one of those coin sorters, right? I'm doing it all on my own, right? So I go to get to Office Depot, and it's $150 for a coin sorter. I was like, there's no way. I found one for $50 over at Walmart. So I'm driving over to Walmart and I'm doing the math in my head. I was like, wait a minute. At 10%, I would have to have $500 in change in here to even cover this coin sorter that I'm buying. So I marched back into Meijer and I used a Coinstar machine. I had 5,300 coins in that jug. Okay? How long would it take me to do 5,300 coins, sorting them out, wrapping them, bringing them to the thing? Here's what Coinstar charged me. Can we see that? $23.58. I couldn't pay somebody to roll 5,300 coins for $23. It's kind of the same thing when you're sitting with a customer, right? It's, when you're telling them about, what the services are, how it works, and they're trying to nickel and dime you on what the cost of it really is. Guys, the money really isn't the issue. It's solving the problem and it's, giving them peace of mind. We know that it takes the average American family 9 months to go from start to finish. So the cost that the price that you're giving them, a lot of the times it's in your head thinking, ooh, this is expensive. Oh, I don't feel comfortable charging the customer this amount for all the work I'm going to do. Let me give you something. We had another regional a couple years ago where there's a couple owners I was talking to, and you know me, I come around with owners, I got my sales hat on. And they're like, we're not making enough money. And I'm like, we're using software, right? And they were like, no, that software's expensive. The number that comes out on the end is too expensive in their mind to be able to offer the client. And I said, no, it's how, what you're selling is, how much is your time worth? I said, let me throw a number at you. I said, let's say the job cost, I don't know, $20,000. How many people in here would be comfortable giving a $20,000 quote to a family? Raise your hand. Yeah, a couple. There's a lot of people that didn't raise their hand. So let's break this down. It takes the average American family 9 months to go from start to finish. So take $20,000 divided by 9. Then take that number and divide it by 4.2. You know how much it is? It's $529 a week. So if I said, Amy, I got a nightmare job for you. It's gonna take you every waking minute of 9 months to go from start to finish, and I'll pay you $529 a week to do it. Would you ever take that job? Hell no. So that's really what it's about. It's all about explaining the value. How much is their time worth? And then breaking it down for them. So does that make sense, guys? Explain the value. Just because it's too expensive in your mind doesn't mean it's too expensive for the family. Does that make sense? You can always go down. You can always make arrangements. You can't go up. You can't be like, oh, it's $10,000, and then they say yes, and you're like, it's actually $20,000, right? So there's different things you can do. Mike, are you gonna say something?
Yeah, so on that point right there.
Yep.
So if you guys don't know, I went through the 10,000 Small Business Program through Goldman Sachs, and they talked about pricing your product, right? So they said if you are presenting your estimate to every client and every client is accepting, you're not charging enough.
Right.
So there is going to be opportunities where you put a proposal together that you aren't going to win, but that's good because you're making more money on those jobs that did say yes, and you're able to pass on one that said no, you're too expensive. So there's different price points for different type of people. Why is there Planet Hollywood? What's the fitness things? There's 12 different levels of types of fitness that you can do. Some of them are $10 a month. Others are going to a personal trainer for $300 a week. So you got to find out who it is that you're talking to figure out, are they a $10 a month person or are they a $300 a week person?
And guys, good things aren't cheap. Cheap things aren't good. I've never gone to McDonald's and had a quality meal. All right, you guys are not McDonald's. You guys are the Jaguar dealership. Not everybody's out there driving Jaguars. You're not going to get every single person that you're not going to be able to close every single person you sit with. And you have to be fine with that. How many people have done a job and taken a hit on it, and it's the most pain in the neck person you've ever dealt with before? It's always the cheap ones, right? So, think through that. I would much rather be like, sorry, you know what, I tell you what, go with, Joe Smith's estate sale company, by all means. Let them deal with that, and then take something where you can get all three. You can get the bundle package. Because imagine how mad you would be if you took a hit on a job that you're working right now, and all of a sudden this whale comes out of nowhere, where it is a $10,000 or $20,000 job, and you don't have the people to be able to handle that because it's an ASAP need too. How mad are you gonna be that you were able to miss out on that opportunity? So it's all about making sure that you're charging right. Guys, money is relative depending on how much somebody is willing to pay, right? So you have no clue if the family is across country and they're not coming back home. They're not coming back home to be able to clean mom's house. They don't want anything in there. Oh, I can have somebody right local be able to do it in a couple weeks. Where do I sign? Where do I sign? So it's all about making sure that you're pricing right, but guys, always show the price itself. You can knock the service off, right? You can always do different things to be able to, work it to fit it into their budget, But also if you are reducing down, say if you're like, okay, this is what it is for all 3 services, and they're like, it's well outside my budget. Is there anything you can do? So you do knock the service off. So you're like, okay, I'll tell you what, we'll do the move and the estate sale. If you guys want to do the clean out, but you better let them know what they're going to expect. You better listen, in my experience, if you do this on a full-time basis, it's probably gonna take you about 2 months to go from start to finish to get this house cleaned out so you can put it on the market. From what I heard, you're not gonna do this full-time. You're doing this on weekends and holidays and stuff like that, right? So it'll probably take you 4 or 5 months, or we can do it in 3 days, and it'll cost X amount of dollars. What do you think? Which one do you think they're gonna go with? Because they don't understand that it's all this work. They don't understand it's this. They have no clue. How many people in here know it's all this work? Right? So that's what you gotta explain. That's the value right there. So the next time you're sitting with someone that's trying to nickel and dime you, think of these tree stumps in my backyard. And no hurry. Okay guys, so this is a big one. This is, I think, one that a lot of people miss. Hurry means you're giving them a timeline to make a decision. Time kills deals. And when you do your walkthrough and you're at the end of your process, ask for the money. Don't leave the house without getting a proposal and asking for the money. But also, figuring out what's their timeline, are you available? We talk about putting a deposit down, right? And being able to have, future jobs. God, I hope you guys are booking future jobs. I hope you guys are like, listen, yeah, we're 3-4, weeks out. So if we put a deposit down today, we can put you on our calendar to be able to, and set you up so we can be ready to roll. I hope you guys are that busy. Even if you're not, tell them, right? Doesn't hurt. So, and here's the thing, guys, this is the price for today. Your proposal should have an expiration date on it. I 100% believe that. Even coupons expire. So this proposal is good for 7 days. Because I know that I have time right now on my calendar to be able to do it. Come a week from now, if you call me back, you might have to reprice it, depending on what jobs I have going on. So, but what this does is it gives them, it creates hurry, and has them make a decision within a certain period of time. So, when you guys bought your franchise, there was a timeline for like Winter Circle, right? So we give people 7 days after the corporate visit, to make a decision. Is this something you want to do? Okay, we spend all this time. If it's open-ended, they'll never make a decision. So it's always about putting that timeline on it. If you give somebody multiple choices, don't give them any more than 3. Nobody has any more than 3 choices, they have to think about it. A lot of the times it should be, laying it in front of them, you get this option or this option, which one works best for you. But don't create 17 proposals for someone that they really gotta be like, oh, hold on, this is too much to sort through. I really gotta think about this. And then don't be afraid to ask for the job. Guys, this isn't a hard sale. This is actually pretty easy, right? If you're able to establish with them that you are the solution to their problem, you're gonna be able to give them their time back. How much is their time worth, right? More than $529 a week, right? So if you're able to give them that time back, ask for the job. This is what it is. And it doesn't have to be a hard close. It can be, which one works best for you? When you're walking through the house, there's also another close called the assumptive close. You're assuming you're taking the job on, right? So when you're walking through the house, it's even your verbiage and how you're talking to the client. It's not if we come back or we land this job, it's no, when we come back, this is what we're gonna do for you. When we come back, we're gonna be able to, and paint the picture. We're gonna have the moving van come in, we're gonna load everything for you, we're gonna set up the room for mom in this new place. We're gonna be able to come in, do an estate sale, clean it out, and then have you put it on the market within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is, right? But creating that value and then ask for the job. I hear stories of people that are like, you know, they go through the house and they're like, okay, I'll send you an invoice, and they run out the door. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, well, you know, why, that's like going on to a, you know, car lot, test driving the car, going through the whole thing, and, you know, the guy's like, okay, well, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you what the price is, you know, tomorrow. No, tell me now. Tell me now what it is. So, does that make sense? And then do not leave the house without giving a proposal. Gentleman here, his name is Les Brown. Have anybody ever heard of Les Brown before? Raise your hand if you have. So this is one of my favorite videos. I was gonna play it for you guys real quick.
Pause that, Jim, turn the speaker on so people can hear it.
Where is it?
It's on the top.
So it's,
Nope.
It'll make like a tumbly sound once you turn it on.
East, they have something that's called the Chinese bamboo tree. The Chinese bamboo tree takes 5 years to grow. They have to water and fertilize the ground where it is every day. And it doesn't break through the ground until the 5th year. But once it breaks through the ground, within 5 weeks, it grows 90 feet tall. Now the question is, does it grow 90 feet tall in 5 weeks or 5 years? The answer is obvious. It grows 90 feet tall in 5 years, because at any time that that person stopped watering and nurturing and fertilizing that dream, that bamboo tree would have died in the ground. And I can see people coming out talking to a guy out there watering and fertilizing the ground that's not showing anything. Hey, what you doing? You've been out here a long time, man. And the conversation in the neighborhood is, you growing a Chinese bamboo tree, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Well, even Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder can say he doesn't show it. You know that's how people are gonna do you? So how long have you been working on this? How long have you been working on your dreams, good? And you have nothing to show. This is all you got to show. People don't do that to you. And some people, ladies and gentlemen, they stop. Because they don't see instant results. It doesn't happen quickly. They stop. Oh, no. You got to keep on watering your dream. And when it began to happen, they stopped laughing. They said, look. Whoa, look here. Look at, hey, man, you know, I know you can do it. Look at you. You got a job here. See, during those hard times, you know how you're going to make payroll during those times when you fell and things didn't work out. They were nowhere to be found. But you know what I discovered? When you're working at your dream, somebody said the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. Oh, it's sweet to you. It's good to you. Why? See, when it's hard and there's a struggle, see, what you become in the process is more important than the dream. That's far more important. The kind of person you become, the character that you build, the courage that you develop, the faith that you're manifesting. Oh, it's something that you get up in the morning, you look yourself in the mirror, you're a different kind of person. You walk with a different kind of spirit. People know that you know what life is, that you have embraced life. You knew it was hard, but you did it hard.
Anybody else have goosebumps? I love that. Guys, this is tough. Nobody said this was easy, you know, but it's worth it. Everybody in here has a dream. The reason you bought this franchise is to take you to places that you've never been before. I've heard every other situation, you know, every time somebody comes through, we ask them which why for carrying transitions, and it's always, I want something of my own. My boss is an idiot, I got ideas that work, you know, I want to get out of corporate. So it's all about feeding this dream. So what I want to tell you is don't quit. Don't give up on that dream. You've got a vehicle here. What you need to do is fine tune it. You know, if you got onto a bicycle and you started going, all of a sudden you fell off, You just throw the bike out? No, you would take a look and you would, just to see, put a little WD-40 on the chain. You keep on working at it until finally you got them off. You know, I mean, think about every time you taught your kids how to ride a bike, right? You didn't scold them for every time they fell, but you celebrated when they went, right? Totally forgot about all those other times that they kept on falling down, they kept on trying again. So, business isn't easy, but it's worth it. We are in the life-changing business. Think about that. Think about what we do. We actually make an impact on families. Raise your hand if you ever made an impact on a family. One of my favorite things to ask owners is, tell me your favorite story. I was actually fortunate enough to have Gina help me with this during our national conference. And her story gives you goosebumps. She's crying during it about how she was able to help us, this wife who lost her husband. Her favorite story. And so remember that as you're going through this, guys. We're in a life-changing business. 50% of the battle is won when you show up. Wayne Gretzky said you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? So this isn't just for consultations. This is also for when you're building your network. This is when you're talking to your real estate agents and your assisted living facilities and all that. When I was at the insurance company, every time I drove by a hairdresser or a chiropractor, I'd drive by and something inside me said, nope, go in. And a lot of the times I'd be behind my wheel and I'd be like, all right, here we go. And I forced myself in through the door. But that at least gave me an opportunity, right? It at least gave me a chance to be able to talk to someone. It gave me a chance to be able to get past that gatekeeper and really forge a relationship with that person. See, I was a numbers game. Talk about my son with baseball, right? If I was gonna take a baseball and throw the ball to my son and have him take swings, law of averages tell me he's gonna hit at least a couple of them if I throw 100 to him. But now let's say Babe Ruth's at the bat, and I'm throwing him the same pitches. How many is he hitting? Probably all of them, right? But why is that? It's experience. It's the developing yourself. And the better you get at your presentation, the better you get at putting your package together to be able to present to a family that you are the solution for their problem, you don't have to take as many swings. You have to be resilient. Guys, sales is tough. If everything I'm saying right now is not registering with you, or you're like, oh, I don't want to deal with any of that, find somebody that does. Because you're not going to be able to help anybody out if you're not closing deals and you're not being able to help these families. There's plenty of people out there that have the will. Salespeople are nuts. There's a totally different type of person, So, and it's tough. It's a hard road, but be resilient. This is a big one. Everybody needs to form a mastermind alliance. I talk about this being a mindset, right? Whatever happens in between your ears. Henry Ford said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So a lot of the times that I know what the coaches deal with, there are these limiting beliefs that people have. It's when you're a kid, and anybody ever go to bed and turn the lights off, and that pile of laundry looks like a monster that's sitting 3 feet away from you? Is it real? No, it's in here. But the longer you stare at it, the bigger the monster gets, right? So form an alliance amongst the people that are in here. When you're going through hard times, when that person that you're developing during those times when you're down and out, talking to somebody that's in here that's going to be able to say, listen, I got it, I've been through the same thing, but keep on going. It's going to be able to help you get to that next step. Write down where you want to be. I know you guys did this before. Look at that, where you want to be in a year. Now, imagine if you took the action behind that and started doing it tomorrow. Where would your business be in a year if you did all the activities? A lot of the times you go to national conferences, you write notes and notes and notes and notes, and those notes live in a notebook forever. You can have the knowledge, but it's the action that goes behind it. Listen, I used to be a personal trainer 50 pounds ago. So I have the knowledge of what it takes to eat right and work out and all that. Obviously, I'm not doing that right now, but working through it. But it's the knowledge of doing it doesn't make a difference if you don't put the action behind it. So take what you learned today, take what's in your notebooks, and apply it to your business. And one of my strategies is there's 3 main skills you need for business. You need to learn how to sell, you need to learn how to build, and you need to learn how to lead. But you have to get the jobs coming through. You have to build your team so that they can work the jobs that you have coming through, and you need to learn how to lead you guys can master those three, you guys are gonna have a tremendous business.